What's going on, everyone? Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to be reviewing this video today between a fitness influencer, Thomas DeLauer. I really like his stuff. I've been watching him for a long time. And then there's another doctor he's speaking to, Dr. Dom De Agostino. He's a neuroscientist and associate professor at USF. And they're talking about doing a sardine fast. As opposed to a traditional fast, they're talking about doing a sardine fast. So instead of not eating for 36 hours, Dr. D'Agostino is doing a fast where he just has sardines. So he's essentially not fasting. All he's eating is sardines. And this should be really good because I'm a huge fan of sardines, rich in vitamin D3, rich in omega-3s, especially DHA, in the most bioavailable form of DHA. And I've been telling everyone thinks I'm so weird at work and in residency. They're like, you eat sardines? Like, how could you? How could you eat sardines? They just make you feel really good. So it's nice to hear that, you know, this PhD, he's also a fan of sardines, and let's see what sort of benefits he's going to uncover, and I'll give you my raw reaction. Like and subscribe.
But something that anyone could do that elicited some pretty profound effects. You were eating one particular food, which was wild. Can you tell me about this and how it works and how people can do it?
We're going to speed it up.
Sure. Well, I embraced eating sardines probably at least 15 years ago, and I was eating a lot of tuna fish at the time. And realized that sardines were really like the perfect food. The micronutrient density was really high. And I would periodically just eat only sardines during what I called sardine fasting, and extended this to a couple patients, including Dr.
We'll go back to normal speed, just so if you guys want to speed me up, it doesn't sound too crazy.
Dr. Fred Hatfield, who has passed away, but put his cancer into remission, doing a fasting protocol that included sardine fasting. And he kind of turned me on to that term. But in practice,
again, so many benefits from fasting. Cancer, right? That's just one of many benefits. And even if you have chemo or you are a cancer patient, if you fast before your chemo, it's known to decrease the nausea, the effects of the medications that usually will make you nauseous. So it decreases the incidence of nausea.
Realize that, especially with a very tight, high work demands and things like that, I just had cases of sardines at my office. So the only thing I had to eat was sardines, and I would work late at nights, and I would also forget to eat. So I realized that I was actually doing this sardine fasting, and also realized my productivity, my mental stamina, my flow state, and even my biomarkers when I got blood work, like everything improved beyond anything that, I had ever previously managed to do. So I incorporated this, sardine as the only food source fasting, and just kind of coined that term, and other people have kind of using it too. But just realized that if you're going to do a fasting mimicking diet, and you want to sort of pull the trigger on getting into ketosis with an energy deficit, you want to do it with the highest density nutrition possible. And I can't think of anything higher density than a good quality premium sardine product. So
that's what I tell you guys all the time. Listen, don't complicate these diets, vegan, paleo, keto. Focus on eating nutrient-dense foods. Sardines. We just spoke about all the nutrients that are in sardines. Eggs, avocados, organ meats. These are just some of the few foods that are so nutrient-dense. And if you actually introduce these early to your children, you're going to see a huge difference in their behavior and their cognition, for sure. Especially when it comes to eggs, because it's such a whole food, perfect amount of protein, perfect fats, nice omega-3 index. I mean, if you can get away with feeding your kids sardines, game over.
So I don't know if we can mention brands here, but just like, I think Wild Planet, they were some of the first ones I was using, but there's a lot out there, King Oscar and some other ones. And I think Seasons, occasionally I'll use them, but I tend to use the sardines that are packed in extra virgin olive oil, not sardines. There's a lot of lesser quality sardines out there. Most of them are in soybean oil and other things. So extra virgin olive oil, and that have the skin on it, and also that have the bones. So get the full fish.
So you're getting, you're getting vitamin D, you're getting everything.
Yeah. And so with extra virgin, so you're talking 15 grams or more of fat.
Here's a little tidbit on extra virgin olive oil. You want it, when you buy olive oil, you want it to be extra virgin olive oil. But more so than that, you want to look at the label and you want to see that it's coming from one source. Italy, Spain. You want to make sure it's coming from one source, because if it's coming from multiple sources and then they're mixing it, that increases the probability that that olive oil isn't the best quality. So try to find olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, that is sourced from one spot, and that will minimize the adulteration of that extra virgin olive oil.
And approximately 15 grams of protein. And if you take, 2 cans of those per day, and the omega-3 content is off the charts. So I've done omega-3 Quant. Rhonda Patrick turned me on to omega-3 Quant and connected me with the guy that developed that test. And without taking...
So omega-3 Quant, this is a test that views the levels of omega-3s that you have in your body. And so there's omega-3 fatty acids, omega-6, those are the main ones. There's some others, we won't go into it, but the omega-3 exam, the exam you get at the lab when they draw your blood, that will identify how much quantity of omega-3s you have in your blood. And I believe in Japan, they have almost double to triple the amount of omega-3s than they do in the West, in the United States. And we all know Japanese people are very healthy, right? And that could be one of the reasons why, is because their omega-3 index is so high. And so eating sardines will improve that omega-3 index. No brainer.
Taking any kind of omega-3 supplementation, my omega-3s were like pinned off the charts, DHA and EPA for one thing. And that's sardines only. And
how many days?
Yeah, I mean, I eat sardines a lot, but when I do the sardine fasting, I will kind of default to, I started just eating many cans per day because I would just be stuck in my lab working in the early days of trying to get, working to get tenure and everything. But I think that the default protocol that I have now is just doing a 3 to 5 day sardine only fasting, and just 2 or 3 cans per day divided into 1 or 2 meals will produce remarkable changes in your cardiometabolic profile and your biomarkers. And then this has a sustained effect over weeks of achieving that, not jumping back into, not rebounding into, going off the rails and eating anything you want. But I feel that the omega-3 content, the micronutrient density, you're able to get the optimal amount of nutrition in the least amount of calories. So you can create and sustain an energy deficit, and it's effortless because you're giving the body the nutrition it needs. So I feel that the higher protein and the omega-3 fat content and the high nutrition is suppressing your body's drive to go seek calories, right? Because you're basically giving your body everything it needs. So you can ride and maintain that energy deficit effortlessly. And as you do that, insulin falls, glucose falls, and your ketones go up. And then, you're achieving euphoric ketosis in a couple of days.
So this is something that can carry over benefits for days after that.
I mean, I wanted to let the man speak. So he's fasting for 3 to 5 days. Well, not fasting. He's only eating sardines. For 3 to 5 days, he's eating up to 2 cans a day. And that equates to what, 400-500 calories, maybe a little less. But they're so nutrient dense. Again, we talk about nutrient density, nutrient dense foods. They're so nutrient dense that your body is going to do very well based off what he's saying, just from eating sardines for these 3 to 5 days. SubhanAllah.
Too, in many ways.
For sure. Yeah.
That's interesting. I never thought of it from a nutrient density perspective, that you're almost just, some people, I have an example. At one point I was doing bone broth fasting. Bone broth fasting was actually tough because it was like almost just tantalizing. It was like just enough to almost make me hungry. It was easier to just fast. Probably because you're just not getting a lot of nutritional value. You're just like whetting the appetite. The sardines, you're talking about the nutrient density, and I can't remember whose work it is, but you've seen like the some of the calcium research, like where like you'll kind of eat until your calcium needs are met in some ways. Like, so I don't know how conclusive it is. I did a video on it. It was interesting. Basically like calcium intake will ultimately kind of blunt your appetite because there's this theory you'll just eat until you, but I think that maybe calcium is profound because it's been looked at, but probably just nutrient density in general, right? Like there's an element of these needs are met, then you know, you're good. So you're
getting a lot from fish. Yeah, we get a lot. Yeah.
Not to mention,
a lot of people avoid the bones and the skin, but they've always been my go-to type of, you know, you have a lot of options when you buy sardines. You know, you can go super fancy, but yeah, the skin and the bones in it and just packed in extra virgin olive oil is the way to go. And that's what I've always used. And, you know, prior to eating sardines or even doing ketogenic, like I always had a kind of a high CRP and HSCRP.
I've been trying to prevent myself from pausing it too much. A lot of the sardines you buy in these cans with the extra virgin olive oil, they have everything he said. They have the bones, they have the skin. Don't be grossed out, guys. Like, your body is a vessel, okay? If you want to treat it like a Ferrari, then put in some high octane fuel, people. Don't be putting in Snickers bars and Twix bars and candy and artificial sweeteners and all this nonsense. Oh, does it still taste good? Who cares? Half the time, who cares? Yes, you can make anything taste good. Just season it. Most of y'all don't even know what seasoning means. I digress.
I did get that measured. Yeah, inflammatory.
inflammation.
Yeah. And after doing this, it's like, you know, it's almost like in many cases non-detectable or 0.1, 0.2, unless like, you know, I think when I lived underwater for 10 days and came back up, my HS
literally
popped up a little bit.
You literally did.
Yeah. So, you know, that changed, or if I had some kind of gut bug, I remember getting back from the Philippines, I was like, oh, it'd be a good time to do some blood work. And my HSCRP popped up to like 5. And I was like, whoa, that never happens. So, and then it was back down quickly. But I do think that, you know, we talk about anti-inflammatory diets, and that is...
So HSCRP, that's a marker that you can get, excuse me, that's a marker you can get from your blood when you get blood work that indicates overall inflammation in your body. There's also sedimentation rate, but people are moving more towards HSCRP, and it indicates how much inflammation is going on in your body overall. So it can also help you figure out if you're suffering from an autoimmune condition sometimes. Sometimes HSCRP is elevated in autoimmune conditions and several other conditions. So it can be used to sort of as a biomarker to track your health.
Is the ultimate anti-inflammatory diet, you know, achieving and maintaining an energy deficit, which has anti-inflammatory effects in and of itself, but then the food itself has profound, you know, anti-inflammatory effects, omega-3s. And maybe I was a little bit, you know, perhaps deficient in omega-3s, but I think just maxing out my EPA and DHA, I think that had therapeutic effects on my brain, on inflammatory markers.
I talk about this all the time. If you're a man, you should have 1,000 milligrams of DHA every single day, minimum, if not 2,000 milligrams of DHA. These omega-3s are so important in your body. They help create that fluidity in your cell membranes. So the outside part of your cell where all the signals are traveling through, that's where these omega-3s work, and they help create that fluidity so the signals can be sent easier, right? When these cells are too rigid, if you're having way too many omega-6s and your body is flooded with inflammation, those signals are gonna be hindered. And, you know, other ways you might feel it is with fatigue. And so increase the omega-3 intake that you guys are having every day, especially for men, at least 1,000 milligrams of DHA. And apply this to your children too. Apply it to your children too, because it's gonna help their developing brains. That's why I'm a huge fan of eggs, because it's rich in omega-3s. And if you can feed your kids some sardines or incorporate some omega-3s, especially those that are rich in DHA, and do that. Some supplements will have omega-3s and they will consist of either EPA or DHA, but you want the DHA content to be high. But forget about the supplements. Just eat sardines. I mean, 1 can of sardines, I believe, has at least 1,000 milligrams of DHA.
Markers and yeah.
And probably, I mean, omega-3s are extremely anti-catabolic too. So, I mean,
Yes,
like a muscle sparing effect.
For
So
sure.
you kind of hit a,
Interesting. So omega-3s are extremely anti-catabolic. So there's two states in your body. Anabolic, where you're building, right? Brah. And then catabolic, where your body's breaking down protein to help mobilize some energy stores. It's breaking down other energy stores, even fat. So if you're one who's trying to build muscle, interesting, then increasing your omega-3 intake, especially DHA, is going to help preserve some of that muscle. And even, it sounds like I might be jumping the gun, but while they're fasting, having the sardines might help preserve some of your muscles, since omega-3s are so anti-catabolic.
I mean, we did another video about this, but I mean, this is important to double click on this now too, because you're thinking, okay, well, people say, well, that's not actual fasting. Well, first of all, you look at, Dr. Volter-Longo's work. It is in many ways fasting. It's not literal fasting, but you're also...
Fasting is just doing without, right? I think like the actual definition of fasting, I'd have to look it up, but I think, I think fasting is just going without calories. So that's what I think you're calorie fasting. So I just kind of put in that, and you could do social media fasting. Like there's different ways to fasting. And I think it creates...
Right, there's also dopamine fasting. Interesting, very interesting. And dopamine fasting, right, which could fall under social media fasting. Very interesting. I really like that definition.
It also liberates you, behaviorally from certain things, and there's a lot of benefits to that. Yeah.
But being able to restrict your calories and be able to maintain it and only do it sustain it for a couple of days, that's very interesting, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are either A, not that successful with fasting, or B, they're just looking for something different, because you kind of reduced your fasting amount because you were concerned with lean body mass loss, and it was a real thing for you. And this is a way to be able to do that where you're not as concerned with lean body mass loss. I think people need to kind of shift maybe the paradigm in which they think about fasting and kind of say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to eat 0 calories. I can do this kind of sardine type fasting. It's just remarkable. I'm definitely going to try it. This sounds super fun. I think actually JR, my videographer, pointed this out to me a while back. He saw a video on it. And it sounds legit.
Yeah, and there's like the barrier to entry is less, right? Because when you tell people just stop eating food, a lot of people aren't going to do that.
Well, some people might rather eat nothing than eat sardines. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be sardines. I mean, there's other nutrient-dense foods. I just can't think of one as high.
I swear. When I tell people I eat sardines, they're like repulsed. They're like, "You eat what? You eat sardines? Well, yeah, you're eating Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Like what? You're judging me? You're eating khara?"
Maybe an
mackerel's pretty high too.
Egg yolk. Oh yeah, mackerel. So yeah, I eat a lot of mackerel too. So that's one.
Egg yolk fast would be interesting.
Egg yolks, or even grass-fed beef or liver. Okay, my wife turned me on to liver, so we have that at least once a week.
You ever done a liver fast?
I've never done a liver fast. No.
Have you done
although I've done caloric restriction for like a week or so with an experiment, and I incorporated liver. We made a whole bunch of liver, and I just included, in this case, it was chicken liver, actually. So not beef liver. Yeah, chicken liver is actually, I think, better than beef liver if you cook it right. Just olive oil and,
That's interesting. Beef liver, even for me, a heavy sardine eater like myself, even beef liver is sometimes like, hard to get through. Chicken liver, interesting.
Yeah, salt and pepper or whatever. But
I did 7 eggs every day for like 3 days, and that was all I ate. So I did, it wasn't just egg yolks, it was full egg. Yeah. I actually wanted to continue, but I had to stop because I had so much energy that I was having a hard time sleeping. I mean, I was like on fire. So there's definitely, I wonder if it's kind of in the same vein of that.
Yeah.
I was just, could have gone forever, but probably wouldn't have slept.
For the first couple days, yeah.
The nutrient density, the profile of the nutrients in eggs is just out of this world. I mean, you have choline, you have protein, you have omega-3s, you have all the good fats. It's such a whole source of food, a whole source of protein, that you can't go wrong with eggs.
When I do the first day or two of fasting, I think the stress of it like will probably stimulate some cortisol and maybe activate the lower glucose, may activate the sympathetic nervous system. And that's typically, what I could mention too, but cautiously mention, is that take a little bit of GABA. My protocol for fasting the first day would, on the first night of after a day of fasting, I will take GABA or a small dose of phenibut, which is phenylgab.
So you have two, I guess let's classify them as neurotransmitters in your brain that work the opposite circuits. You have GABA, which is inhibitory, so like calming. Then you have glutamate, which is excitatory. So he's saying he will take GABA during some of these some of these fasts to help calm him down at night. And a lot of people will take GABA to help them sleep at night too. This isn't medical advice. Go talk to your doctor. You guys already know this.
Just conservatively use that and just kind of use that only for that case, and that'll put me right to sleep. So I do think that the first day or two of fasting activates a stress response that could cause some insomnia for people, and there's ways to mitigate that. I guess you could even use like diphenhydramine or something like that, a small dose. But
I mean, the body composition effects off of eggs were crazy. I mean, I can't say with certainty because I didn't DEXA before and after, but doing like an egg fast like that, I think that I leaned out more in 3 days doing that than I would have from a traditional 3-day straight fast. That's what's fun.
It's perfect food, pretty close. An egg, I mean, it has everything. Yeah.
Is there a mechanistic, because you probably see this with sardine fast, is there a plausible mechanistic explanation to why maybe despite having 500 or so calories per day, it still ended up making me leaner?
Well, yeah, you're in a calorie deficit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
but compared to like a 3-day straight fast, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I think sometimes with a 3-day straight no calorie fast could actually jump up your cortisol and maybe cause some hormonal shifts, maybe in the renin-angiotensin system too.
That's what I tell people is you shouldn't fast for prolonged periods of time. I don't think you should fast for more than like 4 to 6 weeks straight, because it's going to start to affect other organ systems in your body, like your adrenal glands, your thyroid. It's going to decrease your metabolism over time. I don't recommend fasting for more than 4 to 6 weeks. Everyone's different. Talk to your doctor. But there's a lot of domino effects that can occur from prolonged fast. So it's nice to take a break. And also, as Muslims, Ramadan's only for 1 month, and which is, I believe, like the perfect amount of time to fast. And then it's recommended to fast 2 days a week, every Monday and Thursday as well, which I tell people all the time, incorporate a couple of long days throughout the week to fast, especially for those patients who are trying to reverse their insulin resistance.
Where you're just maybe retaining water. That, and everybody's kind of different in that, but I've tolerated, fasting like 0 calorie quite well, but it's a much easier barrier to entry, and I think there's no risk at all to doing. There is potential risk to like 0 food fasting for a couple of days, with electrolyte changes and just, not everybody's like healthy enough to fast, and they should be. And, the risks are small, and we did this historically as a species, right? So I kind of throw that out there with a grain of salt just to cover my butt. But I think everybody can do the barrier to entry to like a sardine fast, or just, a fasting mimicking diet with another food you could choose. 500 calories per day is quite low. Like everybody can do it. And I often throw out there, the more you do it, the easier it gets and the more benefits you derive from it. And I'll say that again, the first time you do it is going to be hard, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, and then the more benefits you derive from it. And
So why is that? Why is it the more you fast, the easier it gets and the more benefits you derive from it? My opinion is your body becomes more metabolically flexible. So each time you fast, you're activating your mitochondria to start metabolizing fat as opposed to carbohydrates. And so as your body continues to adapt, the fasting becomes easier and easier. That's why, I believe in Ramadan, the first few days are just hard. And then after 2, 3, 4, 5 days, you're just cruising. And it's because of metabolic flexibility. Our bodies are so smart. They can adapt to the environment that you put them in.
Fully understand why, but the more you do it, it's like training your metabolism. Like the first or second time could be kind of hard, but the 3rd, 4th, 5th time is like effortless, and you're kind of looking forward to doing it. And I usually time it such that I'm like traveling, or my wife is traveling, and it's a little bit antisocial, but you could still eat that 1 meal per day.
Yeah.
and have a nice sit down dinner that's smaller, but and still do it in that way. But yeah, the benefits are real and they're significant. And I advise people not to be a little bit more vigilant with their food when they reintroduce their normal diet, and to cap calories and not do junk off the rails and do surplus calories for the first week after. You want to kind of cap that and be kind of vigilant and dial in your nutrition for that first week, especially.
Yeah, so what he's saying is after you're done with the sardine fast, you don't want to just go back and start eating donuts and Pop-Tarts and Snickers bars. You want to slowly ease back into your routine and don't just completely destroy the benefits that you have just reaped. Why don't you guys comment below if you want to see me do a 36-hour sardine fast or even longer? I'd love to do it. See how it benefits me, and inshallah, if I benefit from it, I can tell you guys, what was good, what was bad, but I think I'm gonna love it. So before I even watched this podcast, at one point I was like, I should just eat sardines for a week and see what happens. Because the mental clarity I've gotten from eating sardines is so profound. I can't describe it. You just are like in this flow state, and I think it's from all the omega, I believe it's from the omega-3 content. Thank you for watching. See you all in the next one.